IG 678
That,
before just because they don't have a push to talk on.
that's a little background. It'll be
And
okay.
okay, if you're all right with it.
Yeah, we'll live. He said good morning. We just don't know if he said good morning to us or someone else.
You ready? You getting there?
Oh yeah, we're on. Say hi to
Hey,
YouTube.
Good morning,
How y'all
YouTube.
doing, YouTube? Good morning. Welcome to Bullish Bears.
Hope you enjoyed the
Remember
dead
to
air.
like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Yeah, we are looking at some charts today. I have the SPY and the MES on, primarily the MES. I primarily trade futures, so we're looking at those right now, looking at some price action, some channels. Look at that, we had a channel there, little trading range. Got a channel there. Now we're coming back down. There we are. See if we can get down to 41.1675. Pivot there, but mostly sideways action. This is there's trades up there, but ain't nothing for me at the moment that I would trade. Now Jeremy, he'd be scalping the crap out of a 10-second chart. Trading ranges are great for scalping the crap out of something.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Now Jeremy, on those scalps, when you do that, do you generally, on the trading ranges, you generally scalp just bearishly, or do you scalp bullishly and bearishly? That sounds
Both.
funny. Like a little kid. Bullishly and bearishly.
Both, and sometimes in succession. That's where.
The reverse button.
Yep. If you guys go back and dig up that old video I made, it was like a minute and 30 seconds or something like that. But it was using the reverse button, and it was just that kind of efficiency. I mean, there's not many people doing that. Usually, you'd use that on a swing trade. You just go and reverse your position and ride the trend back the other way. On a 10-second chart, it's a different ball game because you don't know if it's going to be a pullback or not unless you can find a defined range. Once you find a defined range and you know where all the targets are, that makes it easy. And it's as simple as misnaming all of the unorthodox trend lines I've been drawing all this time. Yeah, it's just a Gann fan. So you start drawing those on a 5-second chart, and it's like all of a sudden, bing, hey, I can plot these price targets to the penny in real time and nail them over and over and over again. So it's like you can get to that level. It doesn't take much. And when you do get there, it's just like all of a sudden the lights come on. You're like, holy crap, what have I been doing with my life?
Now you didn't. You're killing that, and it's and we all watch it, and when you're up there and you got your 5-second chart, and when you're trading the futures, you're scalping 10-second moves, 3 points. It's like, oh, holy cow, how do you get there? So how do you get to that level? Because you didn't wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm going to start scalping a 5-second chart. I mean, you didn't do that 2 months into learning how to trading. How long did it take you to get to that point?
Oh gosh, that took.
Give us a quick roadmap if you don't mind, because I think sometimes what happens is, it's like I said, it's like a blues jam. Okay,
right.
You go to a blues jam, musician, for you guys who don't know on YouTube. Just down there by 50 years, I've been a musician. So, but when you go to a blues jam, you get a variety of talented people there, and the young guys just don't come in and start jamming with the old guys, right? They don't just start at that speed. So, how did you get there? Some do, not all of them, but some do. Jeremy's one of those rare ones.
It took me a couple of years because when you think about it, I started in December of 17, so we'll just call it 18, rounded. It took me till about February of last year before I started trading a 10-second chart. That's when I was experimenting with the ticks and stuff like that.
You started when?
About February of last year is when I started trading.
When did you start trading?
I started trading in December of 2017.
December 2017 until February, about this time last year, of 2022.
To get to a 10-second chart. But up until then, probably took me about a year before I was even trading a 1 and 5 minute chart overall. So about 2020 is when I started trading that 1 and 5 minute chart with great success. It's just, it became, not necessarily that it became boring, it's just that I knew there was much more structure in price action than just the 1 and 5 minute chart. So I started looking at substructures. And that's when that 10-second chart really started to shine. I'm like, hey, I can see every part of a 1-minute candle, and I know exactly what part of it to get in and out of. And then I started comparing that to SPY, and I'm like, okay, every 30-cent move on SPY is a 3-pointer on the futures, and I can plot those with horrifying efficiency.
Scary.
It scares me.
Imagine.
And I was just like sitting there like,
screen.
you have that moment, and I talked about it with Victoria when she said, it can't possibly be this easy. What am I missing? I questioned myself the same exact way. And it became apparent to me. I'm like, okay, this works really, really good in most conditions, but the conditions change and they rotate. So it's like I had to adapt that ability to put those trend lines together and trade that fast on the fly. So like I had to notice that the market conditions were changing, and that's where the focus became apparent to look at multiple time frames to trade one. And you can do it up or down. You can look at 1 and 5 and 15 to verify what you're seeing for the setups on the 5 and 10 second chart. Or you can turn it around. If you're a swing trader, you can go and look at your 5-second chart, your 1-minute chart, and your 5-minute chart to pick your precise points of entry and exit and turn your swing trading into a much more efficient machine. So you can scale it forwards and backwards.
Wow.
And it's just a matter of...
And once you see it, it does... Easy's a really, I think sometimes the wrong word for me.
Yeah.
Because I say it's easy. I think it's simple.
Yes.
Is more of the word. It's like if I were like hanging out, if you go talk to like some jazz musician who played just some fantastic line, you'll never hear him say or her that it was easy, but you will hear the phrase, "Oh no, man, it's simple."
And that's
it.
I heard a musician say that in the 90s one time, and it was like the epiphany of what made the 90s band the way the 90s band was. It's like these musicians come out and they're like, man, you could play your ass off. You can nail Eddie Van Halen note for note, and no one cares. But you know what sticks? The stupid simple songs. You know,
Always.
All those catchy little tunes. And
because they're easy to listen to. It's not a lot of notes.
Exactly. So like
four-chord song.
Anybody can go and pick up a lot of noise on a chart and not see what the simple structure is. It blinds you to have all this crap on your chart and not know what to make of it. It's just chaotic. But when you start finding the simple parts of it, that's the part you trade because it is simple. It catches on like a catchy tune. Once you recognize it and you see it, it's just automatically your mind goes to it. All right, I know this beat, and you just start playing along.
Son of a Sinner again.
Yeah, love it.
You know that song I'm talking about, country song, Son of a Sinner? If I hear it again. Every time I'm not even a country fan. Every time I get in the car, I hear the dang song. Hey, I guarantee those guys all grew up in church because that sounds like 1990s contemporary Christian church worship music that I used to play.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like that.
Oh man, look at that band Collective Soul. Look how they started out. They were essentially a Christian rock band before they became mainstream. And then they quickly realized just the simple songs that are just beautiful. And those are the ones that play most on the radio.
John Mayer is one of the smartest cats I know.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, sorry. One of the smartest cats I know of, John Mayer. A lot of people don't like John Mayer, but one thing he did was really brilliant. He didn't finish school, Berklee School of Music. He went there for about, I don't know, maybe 9 months or something. But he dropped out because he started his career. He got really smart and he saw that the music he wanted to play doesn't sell.
Right.
That's just the way it's not really big music. And he went in with an idea that I'm going to go in and I'm going to play these simple pop songs. I'm going to study how to write love songs. I'm going to study this stuff, and then I'm going to write songs like that. I'm going to try to make enough money so that I can play what the hell I want. And that's what he did. And he came out and he did brilliantly with some of those songs, like Your Body's a Wonderland and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But But then when he would be in his concerts, he'd start to play more funky, bluesy stuff, and the audience wasn't picking up on it. So he, now he's with Dead and Company. He's basically playing with the Grateful Dead without Jerry Garcia,
Right.
and he loves it. He loves it. He's a little nutty and all that stuff still, but he had a goal and he had a plan, and it was a simplistic plan, and he created simplistic songs that gave him the money he needs to be able to do what he
Yes.
wants.
Exactly.
I like that.
That's a brilliant way to think about it because now he can go out, nerd out, and enjoy himself playing with Dead and Company.
Exactly.
And that is like you look at jazz funk fusion, and you're either a deadhead or you're not.
Yeah.
And I personally I don't like Grateful Dead. I can say that
I'm
honestly.
with you.
But
Me either.
I like the concept of Grateful Dead because it just sounds like one big long jam fest. And
Yeah,
I like,
know.
personally, I
unless
like Zappa.
unless you're the guy playing the guitar, it's not
I should have been
enjoyable.
on with dental floss. You're right. Frank Zappa was my first rock concert ever when I was 15. I'd gone to jazz concerts before, but my first rock concert was Frank Zappa. What a hell of a
buddy,
way to
Frank.
break into rock.
Yeah.
Brown shoes won't make it.
Purple.
But it is such a neat thing to be able to be sitting here live in a trade room and live on
go.
YouTube talking about music and then correlating how it portrays the market to us because we can see it, we've experienced it, we know what to look for. And it's like you can pick out orchestration in a song structure, and it's the same thing. It's just an algorithm, but when you pick it up and you know it, all of a sudden you see it everywhere.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right. Just like it seems like we're getting another M-top here.
Right.
Listen, just real quick, while we're doing this, and everybody out there's on YouTube, I'm gonna give something away. Can I give something away?
Oh yeah, man, we give
Give
it all
something
away. Here. Eventually,
Our members hear this every day. I know, and that's what I love about Lucian's heart. Anyway,
Yeah.
if he could, he would just give all this away because he wants people to do well. But here's what I'm gonna give away. All right, you can look at this any way you want, but I'm gonna look at it as an M-top, even though it's got a lot going on there. If I put it on a different time frame, I'm going to have smaller looks and everything, just like I am here. But the cool thing about an M-top is an M-top has a measured move built into it that anybody can measure. You can take a box and do it, and it's going to be these are flags. This is a big flag. Look at this big climax or exhaustion candle on the 3 minute here. I'm looking at a 3 minute. Look how big that is after this move. That's a big climax, but that flag forms that left side of what I call an M-top. So when I see that right there, I go down to the bottom point. I've got a wick up top here, and I've got a wick down here. Now, I can take just a rectangle tool, and I can measure that distance, and that distance gives me a metric for the measured move of an M-top. Now, if this M-top moves like this, then from here, let me get it there, see if I can do it right here. Then if it fulfills its measured move, we could expect it to hit somewhere around 407, 807. Now, I'll leave that there. But here's the thing. I just gave you a way to measure an M-top from here to here.
yeah,
And that's a measured move. And if you know and watch and practice that, that's one strategy that you can always get a target on. So if that's a measured move, that's great. But what happens if it fails? So I'm going to have a couple of things that can happen to this pattern right here that I see. And this is a pattern we see more than any, a lot, especially when price is getting bearish. If you see an M-top on a 2 hour, I text Jeremy last night. Looks like we got an M-top on a 2 hour. Could be a bearish day, huh?
yep,
So, because you tend to see that. But what we got last week is, if you remember, we got a few failed M-tops. So that is the expected measured move if the M-top is truly an M-top and it's going to complete the measured move. But what happens if it doesn't? Well, then if it doesn't, it's likely to curl back up and push up, or it's likely to just go sideways. Or it will go back down but come back up. So there's a number of things that it can do, and it's studying them long enough to be able to find out what those moves are. So we can sit here and watch it. We'll keep that on the chart. We'll look at it later, but I just wanted to give away a measured move to everybody.
Yes.
That was very kind of you, Stone.
You're very, very welcome.
And
That
there,
cost you, and once you join Bullish Bears, that measured move, to get those measured moves, cost you a nickel 95 every time.
there you go. I just posted a screen grab I got from the 1 minute chart there on SPY. I'm like, it all boils down, and you could do it with one line.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And you see, I just drew a Gann fan down from the top through the consolidation, and it popped right down to that target.
Well, and you do that, and that's what I was noticing with you, and you'll see a lot of traders will do that, folks. You get to the point you don't have to draw a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
They can just
See
draw one
line.
line. You see one line, and you can
Whole
say,
idea.
"Oh, I got a double top." They see this little 3 hits there. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes that's the thing that blew my mind is when somebody called that the third hit. They said it was subdivided.
Yes.
And man, when I heard that, I said, "Oh my God, this is like music," because you subdivide music constantly.
Well, this
And
is
so, that 3 hits right there, that's really one. It's just subdivided into 3.
here's some
So
more
that's
fun.
basically a double top.
Take that line and line it down to the bottom of where the low is after that breakover. So take the end of that line, not that end, the other end. There you go. Drag that down underneath the price that's on there now. Straight down. There you go. One line down. There you go. Now you've come across the consolidation point, and it's just one fan line. And it gives you the target. So like you literally trade the breakover when you see those wicks at the top and it's given up the ghost on that double top. There's your price target for your extension. Yes, you have previous low for resistance or for support, but the extension takes you to a measured move straight at the base of that one line.
We just gave 2 measured moves away.
Yep.
Gave away
I
two
can't
measured
believe
moves.
that.
And 3
I
ways
thought
to
them
get to
draw-
it.
2 measured moves
You
away.
just showed them how to draw the X and the box.
Yep.
Mom always said, "Stock market like box chocolate. Never know what you're gonna get."
So
Look at
there's-
that. And this is cool too. This is a breakout, y'all. This is a breakout to the downside right here so far.
Do you know who else traded that opening last night and
That what?
killed it?
That what?
Do you know who else traded that opening last night and killed it? Our friend Bud.
Oh, good job, bud.
Don't say that.
Uh,
I just blew up my account this morning on that move.
Ah!
well,
Trial and error, my friend.
it's
I
still
was-
learning.
I had 20 profitable trades this morning in a row. So
That's awesome.
So
It's-
so far, by the way, you saw I measured it over here too.
Yes.
my problem is I'm taking profit too soon because I have such a small account.
Right.
Trying to grow a $100 account, and I'm not letting it ride. And I don't know where to put my stops because it's such a small account. Once it grew enough this morning to like 150, then I tried to save my trade and average down, and it just kept going.
The objective
But I've
is,
done that. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've done that more than you want to know.
and the objective is simple. Just learn from it one step at a time. And then also you got that book that's really, really helping you.
Freaking great book.
Combine all that and just make notes. Like, I did this. This is what happened. This was the successful side of it. This added up to here. This is where I gave it all back. Examine where you gave it all back and be like, okay, I know how to not make that mistake again. It's a
Quite
simple
smart.
trial and error, and then you mark your errors. You learn from failure. You fail your way forward.
It was a dumb move. There was a clear M top. coming.
Yeah.
Failing forward. That sounds like something from a John Maxwell book.
And the other part of this is we know that the market doesn't always have a mirror. It doesn't always do exactly the same thing, but it tends to rhyme. And
That's exactly right.
you got the opening in a double top. You got a double top here after a retracement of a gap fill. I mean, it becomes obvious at that point, and that's what you got to make a note of. Is like, this was obvious and I missed it. So make that a note. Next time you're going to catch it, And that's where you just make the transition from giving all of that successful trading back to keeping that successful trading and then working into your next move. Also, it teaches you a lot about risk management. So like you go and instead of compounding your next position, you take the risk off the table and start over with the same risk that you did on the first trading pattern that you made success on. That's the key difference between trading pennies and options versus trading futures is you got to realize that you got to draw back your initial risk and start over with that risk until your account is scaled enough to take on more risk. Don't scale up your size, just keep it back. And that's where you really make another profound transition of being able to not give it all back.
Yeah, I
Making
should have
your
had a
chips
stop
off the
loss on them, but I didn't know where to put it.
Dang it, using
Right, and that's something that we can talk about. We can talk about those now if you want, because, or we can do that later on in Discord, because that's something that Bud. When I look at these videos and I listen to these teachings of these guys who are trading futures, and they're talking about these huge stops, it's like, whoa, how do you do it? Well, one of the ways is we look at the smaller time frames, but I would stick with the lowest on those stops would be a 1 minute chart. And it depends upon your entry. Like, for example, if you saw this here and, we were looking at this measured move right here, then same measured move on this, just on the MES as opposed to SPY. By the way, real quick, you can see Jeremy's target's been hit already.
Yep.
You're still waiting for mine. You'd be like, dang, Stone, Jeremy's already got profit. So let's go over here and let's look at this and let's think about how we would get in. So let's say we're going to come in on a 5 minute chart and we see that we've got these two candles right here breaking, both candles closing near their low below a single moving average of the 20 EMA, right? So we got that there. That's a good idea for us to get in. So one strategy is to sell this low of this candle. But what they tell you on these big things is if you buy or sell this low, then you need to put your stop all the way over here. Well, here's the deal. That low is 41.1350, and this stop, which is the high of this candle here, is, we're talking like almost 20 points away, almost 20 points away. Well, with a small account, you can't do that. There is no frickin' way. But if we go to the smaller time frames and we see the same thing, and I'm going to put my synchronization on, this might mess with some of your eyes. Let me drink something here.
You need to drink a little to see this, right? I'm just kidding.
I got a little sip of a coffee. So I'm going to synchronize this so you can see this. This is another thing I like about TOS.
Yes.
So here's my 5 minute candle down here where my pen is on my lower right. But if you look to the upper right directly above me, I've got a 1 minute chart, 1 of the 5. This is the 1 and this is the 5. So if I want to say, okay, I want to get in, but man, I can't afford that 10-point stop. What could I do? Well, there's several things we can do. One, you see here, I've already measured this move prior to measuring this. I'm expecting it to fulfill that measured move of 41.0125. If I have some way to measure that, like I did here, and I can see that I have pivots, well, then I can say, all right, well, this is the bottom of that bar, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 opportunities on the 1 minute to get in there with a stop that'll only be, are you ready for this? Just about 2 or 3 points. Because I'm entering into a movement that's happening on a larger time frame and a trend that's taking place, but I'm doing it on a smaller time frame with smaller candles. The range of that candles is $3.25, 3 points, 3.25 points. Blah, 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 blah. We're talking about points and not dollars. So I can get in any one of these, and if I see and I'm paying attention to my price action, and I see this big exhaustion candle that starts up over here. When you see big candles, further down into a breakout or a trend and they're bigger than everybody else, you really start paying attention because that's a climax. That means we're going to probably get a pullback soon. So if I get ready for that pullback, I could even get in and say, I'm going to get in at 41.16 and we're going to say that's 75, and I'm just going to set a 1 point stop because I'm looking at this. It's not going to hit, if it's going to work, it's not going to hit my stop. But I got to know that I'm coming into a pullback. Jeremy's great for getting in on the 8, and that's why he says, we follow the 8, ride the 9, which is the thing of the bullish bears, but Jeremy got us started on the 8, so it's the same principle, though. You can get in on that when price hits it, but there you have a 1 point stop on an entry in a trend that's taking place on a larger time frame. You're not going to get stopped out, and you can capture all that because you got targets already. Does that make sense?
Crystal.
That's on YouTube too, isn't it?
Yep.
Which means we recorded that.
Yes, we did.
That'd
That
be
was
great
brilliant.
content for stop losses.
You got it.
I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, guys. I just know that if you go back and you watch that time and time again, slow it down, watch it again, you're going to pick something up that's going to help your trading.
Also, Stone, one of my intentions is...
Hang on a second. Does that help?
wait.
Devin, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just want to make sure Bud heard me and see if that helped to confuse him.
Bud?
Sorry. Sorta. It's hard since you're on a totally different
Platform.
starting platform, and it's still that's a very particular case, right? Because my whole problem's been taking profit right away, and then having my stops be too far out. Because every candle's different. So you're saying to look at the. I use the true. I trade on the 2, but I look at the 5. So you're saying to break down into the 2 from the 5, but I can't really break down because I don't have toss. So
No, but you can still do the same thing. You can still do the same thing with using the 5 and the 2. You can still do that because actually I learned on the 5 and the 2 to begin with before Jeremy was in the room all the time.
Yeah.
The moderator that was in all the time, Scott, he traded on a 5 and a 2. So you can do a 5 and a 2. A 2 is actually a great chart to do that with. You can do it on any time frame that's lower than this one. And what you can do is watch that video again. But what I'm saying is, and that's where I follow the pattern. That's where I follow that's why I think flags to me are the foundation of everything you do. If you can learn, above everything else, I know you get, when you start trading, you get a lot thrown at you and you have to really sort through it to get a footing. And that's, for me, finding the footing was learning how to trade flags. Thank you, Lucian. Lucian's video on flags, and when I came in, he moderated a few times live and was showing us flags. And then Jeremy came in and showed us flags. And what I've learned is everything is really based off of that flag when you want to get in. You got pullbacks, you got a flag goes up, you get a few flags, you got a channel. You get a big flag pole, you got a breakout. So that's why I saw the pullback. And there's ways to find those pullbacks and to refine this into even more detail. And that's but it's hard to do in a short time, but I'll give you this one too, and everybody can have this. This is all free. I get this stuff everywhere. You can go find it. Some of it you got to pay for, but some of it you can get for free, and some of it you can start figuring out for yourself. But a pullback, when we have this channel like this, a pullback is when you get a candle that goes higher. Its high is higher than the previous candle's high. So you get that pullback. And then I'm seeing stuff right here, and I just don't want to blow everybody's mind and give you too much because it can be overwhelming. But I'm seeing even more stuff in this little area right here that gave me a lot of ideas that price was going to go down and where I could get second entries.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so there's a lot there, but you're on the right track. And not only are you on the right track, you're calling stuff that's happening and it's moving that way. And you've given us, as a community, a really good book to read, and we all appreciate that. So
Yes.
I think you're gonna get this, and maybe just it's just a matter slowing down and going step by step by step. And you're doing that right now. You're already doing that. And I think the more you do it, you're going to see that and you're going to be successful, bud.
What book are we talking about?
The John J. Murphy book, Technical Analysis of Financial Markets. And I've still yet to receive my workbook, but it's okay. It's a great reference book. And if you, I think it's a very comprehensive book. It's very good. Be good for anybody who wants to do price action.
But what I was going to say earlier is I'm waiting for this new piece of hardware to come in, and then my intention is to clip those lessons
Awesome. Yeah, that would be great.
so we get quick 1-minute lessons that I can put onto social media to help drive us.
You got some noise in the background. Is that you?
That's not me.
I hear it. I found
Okay.
it.
Okay.
There.
Thank
Done.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just got to remember. We got to remember to unmute them if they start
Yeah.
asking questions.
What I'll try to do is unmute right before we're about to end.
Hey, we got to tell folks that we can hear their social security numbers.
Yeah, there you go.
Just
Just tag 'em.
everybody. I'm just teasing. I'm kidding. All right. So look. Let's go back to Jeremy. We hit Jeremy's target over here. You see that?
I love that one
Man,
line.
hit it. Look, mine's off by what? Mine's off by a little. But if you know me, what do I say I look for? I only want a third of the movement.
Yep.
I would have already been in and out. So
Well, I was going to say
That's what
I
that
could have had
should
my
be.
measurement off too, by the way.
on the condor I was holding, my put side crossed the wash on the losing side by about 25%, so I capped half of it. So I was able to rotate some of that into butterflies. So
Did that sucker drop today or what?
I can do that one leg at a time. If it then runs back up and tags my call side, I can lock that in a butterfly. And I have until Wednesday to sort this out. But I think I can just straight take profit from it today, or I can walk half of it into a butterfly and lock profit. So it would make sense to just lock profit at that point. As for my Amazon butterfly, that thing is just glorious. It can't lose 350%. It's just perfect. Amazon can crash right now and it's not going to do anything to me. I love it. I wanted to touch base on an options
bold
question.
statement.
Yes. I wanted to touch base
Go
on
ahead.
an options statement that we need to get clarified for a lot of new options traders. If you got a minute, because we're kind of flat for price action for the moment anyway.
I want you to do that, Jeremy, because that gives me a minute also to go take care of another cup of coffee.
Yeah, and it'll give us a second to
Oh,
let this
yeah.
potential IHS shake out too, by the way. So
Correct. I see that on the 1 minute.
yes. So in short, I wanted to touch base on one concept of options that new traders miss, or they're also sometimes where they're afraid of what they're seeing. This involves the concept of selling to open options.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And if you looked at what I was doing on the run up into Amazon's earning, right in the middle of the day at the top price on that Amazon play, I'm holding 100 shares long, and I can wheel trade that, but I can also swing the short leg. So I went and sold a covered call at the 125 strike, February 10th expiration. Sold it just before earnings for $195. That's $1.95 on the options chain. The next day, I bought that contract back to close it for $8. And that is massive returns overnight. So that's what you can do with these covered calls. You can do volatility plays on earnings like that. And the concept is you don't have to let them go to expiration. They don't have to cross your the strike price to be worth anything. You just close them. Just swing trade them like you would a share of stock. And the thing is, compare it to short selling. You short sell a stock, you got to buy it back to close it, right? Same concept with options. I go and sell that option to open and then buy it back to close. It's that simple.
it's just taking Jeremy. It's also taking the time to understand when to get in.
Right.
I mean, and really having that understanding of your price action and knowing what you're looking at, because at first,
And the idea between volatility and not volatility is that options become inefficient, and taking advantage of that inefficiency is what you're doing there. So I realized that option was, I mean, not just grossly overpriced, it was insanely overpriced. And it's just like, well, that's a no-brainer. I know that's, even if it expires in the money, I'm going to make a killing on this. Do it. You know, it was that simple. So it was essentially playing like Mr. Market Maker. You're warehousing shares and you're renting out contracts on them. Plain and simple.
yeah, you're playing the house.
Pretty much.
Um,
Someone was saying
Sorry, what were you
something
saying?
that keeps getting cut off. Like the audio drops out.
Yeah, the audio's dropping out.
I'll pick out who it was as soon as
My audio has dropped out a couple of times.
I think
Ah, there you are.
Zolta. Your audio's dropped out a couple times.
So long story short, you know, there's so many different things you can do with options, and it's more than just buying and selling them too. And then selling them and then buying them is another concept that's hard to follow. The conversions, and I'm going to be like hell bent on teaching conversions to everybody because this is a freaking game changer. Conversions are incredibly powerful. The best part of it is it frees up your capital, it locks in profit, and you can go do something else. And you just let that thing autopilot to wherever the hell it flies to a point. There is a control. If you're locking things into a butterfly, for instance, you got to pay attention to where the price is. If it runs you over, it can't lose what you've locked into it, but it can go to a very profitable position beyond that and then go away when price crosses the threshold. So that is something important. Sometimes you just close them. So there's stuff to pay attention to there.
I mean, that's the main thing is you got to be looking at the chart in order to make those kind of spread. I mean, you can leave it alone somewhat, right?
Right.
But up to a point, you have to keep your eyes on it.
Exactly. Like my Tesla butterfly, for instance, it sits at 205. That's the body. You know, if it gets to 205, regardless of whether it does it now or an hour till expiration, at that point I've got to close it. Otherwise, I could wipe out. I could leave a lot of money on the table that way. Mind you, it's still locked in for a phenomenal profit on the risk. That's fine. That's done. That can't go anywhere. But I could take a whole bunch more out of it if it gets to that threshold. I can just close it. The Amazon butterfly, it's way out there. It's up in the 140, 150 range. Dude, that thing locked in an enormous amount of profit. I knew it was never going to hit those numbers, but in size, it locked in such a huge profit that I can just literally let that expire worthless, or I can just close it. I can go and take that into a YOLO because its expiration is not until March 17th. I've got lots of time on that. If Amazon suddenly has some really miraculous things happen within the business and it starts to trend up, I can go close the short spreads on that and ride the long spreads and take even more profit. It's that simple.
And I can't wait to get there.
So the conversions is where we're ultimately going with the whole concept of options trading here. And I can tell you right now, you can go and try and find some information Googling, you know, that style of trading, converting options trades instead of opening and closing them. There's not much material on it. Not many people are thinking this way. Mainly
Converting is
because
adjusting, right?
right.
That's what you're talking about. You're talking about adjusting.
Adjusting and converting, yes.
So
and
conversion is adjustment. Got it.
There's not much material on it because the playing field was different. You know, there's commission brokers out there. And that's my other argument is there's commission brokers out there. And when you put this kind of options chain together, the commissions can eat it up. Whereas if you do it on a commission-free account, hello, the freaking game changes to your advantage. You're not going to pay commissions. You're not going to pay assignment fees. Nothing.
Merlin just texted me too, so he must see you out there.
So it's all yours at that point.
I'll be back.
It's Desi in the background, Jay.
Yep, got it. So like you get to trade like a market maker, and you get to keep all of it. You don't give a dime back in commissions. I mean, yes, Robinhood does make its money on order flow, but the options they're pretty fair.
It's free on Robinhood to do options, right?
Right.
They don't charge you anything.
Nope, it's all commission free. The hard part is getting them to approve you for a level 3 options trading account. That's it. That
What do you have
IHS
to
is
get
taken off,
to?
so I'm going to let Stone take it over right now.
Okay.
Oh, I had my mouth full of food. Somebody beautiful handed me something good to eat. Look at that. That's a big candle. What we had here was we had that bear breakout of this kind of trading range right there. And then we hit this red hammer here, and we wicked into that low, and I was curious to see what it was going to do. This is the current high, and this is the current low. I put my little quant tool on it, and I shaded it out so we can't see it as much because I didn't want it to get in the way. We're breaking that angular resistance right now. It's that inverted head and shoulders on the 1 minute. We also have it here on the 3 minute. So we can have another measured move that we can find. But this is just so, we're all clear on things. We're dealing with 3 things today, right? We have breakouts, we got channels, we got trading ranges, and then trading ranges turn into breakouts. You have a breakout here, and then you have a reversal, which is a breakout. This is in essence a bear pole, but when we go on to a lower time frame and we look at it, and thank you, Jeremy, for all you got great options information. By the way, I just went right into the price thing because I saw it.
Yep.
And
I can't wait to be freaking clipping that stuff.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're on the precipice of something here, and we've been modding for a while, and now it's like, okay, let's start putting this material together, and that's what we're working on, folks.
And we're,
So-
and we're able to segment it, and we can use price action to tell when to segment it. Like I cut off my options conversation because there was price action happening. There you go.
Because you're following it, and we were able to follow
Starts
that
telling
together.
us what to do. Like,
Yes.
Listen, we don't do that. Go ahead, Jeremy. I mean, Devin, you were soft. Go ahead.
I'm soft. Dang.
You were.
Why is
Dang
my-
it! I
why
said
is
it
my-
again.
Why is my stuff coming?
Your volume is low. Your volume is low.
Yeah,
I'm going to
I
stop
know,
saying soft.
I'm
I'm going to say low.
No,
You're
no,
low.
no. On the mic.
Low
No,
vol.
low vol on the mic. Am I good now? Better?
All right, so we look like we're flagging up on the 1. Yes, you are better.
Thank you.
Some of y'all, we Jeremy and I will do this in private sometimes, and we'll be on the phone, and we just start tracking price together, just him and I.
But that's what we're
And,
doing here. Like,
And I love it. It's such a
me
privilege.
too. Me too. Such a privilege.
And
Weird.
we laugh about it because it's like, yeah, it's going here. Well, oh, look at that. Okay, here. So that's what we're doing. We got this little push, this little blowout. This is like this formation here. Let me take this off. I'm going to take this drawing off so you can see this. This is an educational moment. This formation here, I pay attention to. Anytime we get a flagpole up. Now look, on a 1 minute chart, this is a bit of a climax candle. We had one of those earlier I talked about over here. And when we got to that climax candle, we talk about what price can do. So we got to another climax candle after it made this breakout, which here you see it's a breakout. Here it looks like a tight channel, a tight bull channel, but it's a breakout on a larger time frame. Go to a higher time frame, and we've got a potential morning star. So, but this formation, I want to pay attention to. I want to see what's going to happen. A lot of times when you get that, you get an additional flag that goes up. But since we've already reached an exhaustion candle, let's see what happens. Now, if the bulls really want this thing to push, then they're going to push it, and we're going to retrace 100% of that move that we had from today's high to today's low.
Yes.
That's
My
exactly
goodness.
right.
I mean, like, dude, I can't wait to clip this stuff.
There is a
It's
lot
good
of good
stuff.
stuff in here with
It's good stuff, man.
the indicators that I have. These are like training wheels. And again, I know that there's different brokers, and it's tough, guys. And I'm using, it took me a long time to use this stuff. I really like TOS at this point, and then I know what I need in TOS to succeed trading. I don't need everything it offers. But what I need and it does offer is great.
Yes.
So we could have a measured move. We could have a measured move here. But I want to go back to what Jeremy said earlier about the market. It doesn't always repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I want you to look at this inverse head and shoulder, and I want you to see the rhyme. Here it is. This big bar here, this big exhaustion bar here, and this big opposite exhaustion bar here. But that's a rhyme to me. That's twins. I call those twins sometimes. I know that's probably not the proper name, but that's what I call them. We break this level here, well, then let's go see where we can go. And what I'm going to do to measure where we can go, and I can show you again how to do this a different way, but this is quick. This is quick. I don't have to do this slow. I can do it quick. I'm going to measure from that high to that low, even if it's not completely accurate. And I'm going to have targets that are now going to be above me that I can.
Zalfa.
Somebody grab that.
That's Zalfa.
Thank you.
ZULFA.
Am I on up?
On
So
it.
now I'm going to grab targets.
Got it.
And hang on 1 second. That we have above us. That if we break this level here, we can attempt to reach those targets. Will it do that? I'm not saying it will. Those are potential targets. But right now we're flagging up. And what we have to look at is how strong is that trend? How strong is that break? And this was a pretty strong break. It started off that way, but then you see how the candles got smaller and we got this big wick. That's like a topping tail. On the 5-minute, we get a V. We got a morning star on the 15-minute. Go up to higher levels to see what else we have to get a clear picture. It looks pretty sideways on a 30-minute chart. 1 hour chart, it looks like we're trying to break a descending channel. Right?
Mhm.
I'm going to go up. We're going to go up to a 2-hour chart. Still looks like we're trying to break a descending channel. Let's see how much weakness there is in this trend or how much strength it is. Well,
look
it's
at it.
looking
It's trying
pretty
to-
bullish at the moment.
Trying to make a morning star there.
But what can happen here is a rejection at this level. Now, why am I saying that? Because I've seen this pattern before. High, lower high, lower high. Drop. How many times have we seen that, Jeremy? So this is a wait and see. This is a
day.
wait and see.
You know, and
This
that's actually the story I was watching you tell yourself on the MES in that lower left-hand corner when you were going, this looks like it's going up, and then you're like, that looks like it's going down. It's flag 2 of 3.
Right.
You know, it's wave 2 right now. We're still in that.
And we've got a little, excuse me, we've got a little trading range here on the 1-minute chart. Go to the 4-hour, down here to my left side, and you can see things too. And the idea of the larger time frames is to be able to find things that give you an idea of what the overall sentiment is. Now look for 3 touches. I got 2 over here on a descending channel. I'm not even looking at the bottom right there yet. I'm looking at the top. And we've probably got 3 here. 1, I'll call these 3 together. 2, all this is 2 right there. And then there's 3. So when you have those, again, it moves in 3s. You're going to see this every day, all day long. It is going to have 3 touches on resistance or support, and then there's going to be something, either a sideways movement or a pullback. Something's going to happen, and then you can wait to see if it's going to resume. If it were to resume this trend on a 4-hour, then we could expect another leg that equals this distance here to there to go down. And so again, I'm using a quick tool for this, because there's always, when you have one leg or one leg down, then there's a high likelihood you're going to get a second leg down. And when you get that second leg down, it's probably going to match the first leg, okay? And I don't even have to do anything here. You can see between this line and this line is a third. Between this line and this line is a third. That second leg down almost equals this first leg, and I'm taking this last leg from right here. So that's pretty good stuff. This is how it works all day long, every day. So now I've got an idea of where price can go as well over here if it reverses up, and I have an idea where it can go if it goes down. So I've got two types of targets and several different ways I can look at it. Trading range, trading range, trading range, trading range. We haven't broken this little trading range right here. So it's going sideways on the 1 minute.
Like you said at the beginning, it's time to wait.
It's time to wait. This is a waiting point. Now, we want to see it break out. We got a spinner here. So perhaps this is an exhaustion and this is going to be continuation, but it's got to really push up strongly past these bars to the left for me to believe it's going to continue. If not,
Strength. Yep.
with strength. If not, we'll come back down.
Yeah, you really need to pop through there.
I go to work out and all my stocks go down. What the heck?
Right.
No.
That's usually
Ah,
what
you're-
happens.
Yep.
We always
I'm
tell everybody when you leave something
you're not
happen.
I'm about to get out of my chair for a second too, so watch it. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and
Hopefully
anytime
goes up.
anybody leaves and they announce it, something happens. So everybody get ready.
Then I'm gonna start giving it the old Irish goodbye.
I was positive on the day, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, dude, you're losing like $4 today.
It's, at least it didn't rip your face off.
Bastards.
Yeah, we're just kind of, if you look at like I said, we're just kind of going sideways, really. Yeah, so those are things that you start hearing, and I'm just going to keep saying them over and over
That's it.
again because
That's what we do.
we see it every day. It's the same thing every day. And once you start looking and narrowing it down to seeing the same thing, and it's happening every day, doesn't matter if we're going bullish, doesn't matter if we're going bearish. You're going to have breakouts, trading ranges, channels. And if I say it this way, you're going to have breakouts, channels, and trading ranges, because every breakout is really a channel, and every channel eventually becomes a trading range, and every trading range eventually has a breakout. That's going to happen every day, all day long. That's not something I'm making up. That's just the market every day,
Hey,
all day.
Stone, what are the three ways that the market moves?
Oh, by the way, the three waves the market moves is breakouts, channels, and trading ranges.
But it also goes up, down,
Down and sideways.
sideways.
That's exactly right. So you can have breakouts to the upside or the downside.
Yep.
And those trading ranges, those are one of my favorite things to trade.
Okay.
Because I know when I can zero in on that trading range, I know when price breaks that trading range, especially if it's a sideways trading range like this. You can get trading ranges that are in channels. They'll be like broad channel, and it'll be a trading range on a different time frame. But when I can find the ones that go sideways like that, like this one right here, what do I know is going to happen? The breakout is going to equal the range of the trading range. So
All right, could you look at
just-
Amazon and give us some words on what's going on with that?
I can look at it in just a second. Let me finish this here. So what we have is, I'm using the shadow boxes to give us an idea of where that breakout would go. I'll do that for you in just a second. My goal is to help everybody learn how to do it themselves by showing them these techniques so that you can identify what's happening on your own, because that's what you really want to do. You don't want anybody to ever tell you what to do in a trade, and that would be illegal unless they're a financial advisor. None of us can tell you what to do, but I can show you how to do it yourself, show you what bait to use, show you what pole's the best and where the good fishing holes are, and I can do
But
that.
I mean, like that.
But I'll
that-
go back and look at
those
that.
Those boxes are measured move arguments.
That's exactly what they are, Devin. They're measured move. Well, thank you, Devin. That's what they are. They're measured move arguments. If this is a trading range on a 1 minute chart, then I'm looking for that trading range to break. And when it breaks, I'm looking for it to equal the trading range. These are just duplicates of this box. This
Yep.
is the upside argument. This is the downside argument. You have to wait for the break. But the challenge with trading ranges these days, and you'll hear everybody say, wait for the break, and they have. But the market's changed a little bit, so you got to kind of adjust your strategies and everything to it. And one of the things that I picked up from this one guy who calls him a fakie, calls it a fakie, is that when you get in these trading ranges, the initial breakout might be a fake out. So, example, if I'm looking at this, one candle on a 1 minute chart can equal that. But if I'm on a larger time frame, it might take a couple of candles. It might start to break out and it looks green like that now or red, and then it sucks back in. And that's the fake out. And people are going to see that breakout and get in on it. Again, on larger time frames, I would probably be waiting for the second candle to get in on that breakout. But it's possible that this breakout could exceed. Now, another thing I'm seeing right now as I'm talking about this is I noticed that there's a pivot right here. Pivots tend to be magnets, and you can find pivots through Wix. This is a pivot tool I have. It's the best. I've never seen anything like it. It's a free indicator. So there's that move. It made that 100% move. It jumped through that level and broke through it strongly. But also, this is a pretty big candle, so we need to see some good follow through on that. I don't want to see a long wick on this candle. If I see a long wick on this candle,
That's that strength breakthrough.
well,
that you were
yeah.
talking about, right?
yeah,
And if,
we call him Beaker. It looks like Beaker from the Muppet Show. That would, if I see a big long wick, then there's a probability this becomes a trading range. See, I don't like those wicks, so I want to see this wick filled up with another green bar, and I want to see it go beyond that. So we have
is that on the 1 minute?
That's the 1 minute right there. I'm showing on the big scale. So and those are the targets of the 1 minute. If it's retraced from this high to this low, and we're hitting this high back up over here, it's a potential that it's going to go up a little bit further. But we have to wait. It has to, it's broken out of this range. Great. There you go. What did it do?
The chart does not do what we tell it. We do
No.
what the chart tells us.
But look, everybody can do this.
Everybody.
If the market moves in three ways, and I say this every day, and I won't stop,
Can't
and I can
stop,
find
won't
the trading range, that trading range is going to be doubled. When price breaks out of it, it's going to equal the same range, and that's what that is. If it went to the downside, I know it's going to hit that. I don't have a doubt, because that's how the market moves. It does it all the time.
Mhm.
I just look for the smaller movements. I look for the pieces that I can put together, the ABC 1, 2, 3. So let's go look at Amazon. Take me a second to pull it up.
That's
I'm
that's
gonna
good
try to
stuff,
see.
John.
I'm going to try to see if I have Amazon over here. Hang on. I mean, I have it, but I'm just trying to see if I have it on a list so I don't have to screw around. Let's see. Is it 7? There it is. Okay. I got it. There we go. Amazon. Only have one set of drawings. Let's clear any drawing set we have. Yes, because none of that stuff's going to matter. All right, we'll check out Amazon. Amazon moving a lot like SPY. Right? Is that right? Maybe not. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to do different study over here as we look at Amazon. All right. I took off my volume. I don't need it. That will freak some people out. Less is more. I don't have to look at all that. My goal has always been, and Devin, what's my goal always been to do? Learn the candles.
Oh yeah, trade candle for candle.
Candle for candle. That
I
has been
think-
my goal since I found out about it.
You've been trying to figure out how to measure a move, and you've been trying to understand what candle Jeremy's looking at in order to find his ranges that he's trading in.
Yeah, and we got those figured out now.
Yep. There it
So
is. You
I'm going
see
to
it.
go on a 5-minute chart on Amazon. But before I do, let's go to the daily, and let's look at
Whoa.
Amazon. All this stuff applies
All those gaps.
to the same. Okay, a price action is price action is price action. It applies everywhere. Daily charts are a little goofy to me because they have these gaps and stuff, but you can generally still see the shape. And here's the thing, it's finding the shape as opposed to just trying to figure out all the patterns and everything. For me, again, this is breaking it down very simple. All the patterns matter, but the thing is, if you can just break it down to those three things, because I can see a channel right there. As soon as I look, I can see channels. There's a channel. Here's a channel. I can see a trading range right here. What happened to that trading range? Put it there. Any way I do it, the trading range I found, price broke out of it. And what happened when it was that broke out of it? It made 100% of the same range, correct?
Mhm.
I see that on the daily. So what's that got to do with everything right now? Not a dadgum thing. Let me get back to the questions. What do
Well,
I
he was
think?
asking you to break. He was asking you to break down Amazon, so you break.
Yep. So
you're
we're
doing
breaking it down right now. Amazon. Let's do a breakdown of Amazon. Let's remove the drawings. Let's go look at a grandiose time scale. Remember, we're dealing with forest and trees have roots, branches, and leaves. So we have to be able to look at the big picture, and then we have to be able to scale down and zoom in to the more details. If you watch a news report tonight, and let's say, unfortunately, if you're in America, I'm sure you'll have some news report about a shooting. If you watch the news report about a shooting or a crime scene or a robbery, and they show the scene of the crime, what the first thing you'll notice is they come in with a wide view. Then they get a closer view, and then they get a even more detailed view. It's 1, 2, 3. I worked with the best cameraman in the business, the number one cameraman in the world, and he's got an inspirational story too. And I worked with several cameramen in my time, and I always ask questions because I like movie stuff. And so they taught me how to set up a scene, and that's what you do. It's three steps. And it's lower third, upper third, and middle third when you're looking at the screen. It's freaking crazy. This thing is all over the place. So we're gonna go with the weekly. And so we're going to draw out to the big frame, and we see here we've got this little topping action happened, whenever 11:15 was. I guess that's last year, and we've been in a descending channel. It looks like from this high, double top there, and there we are, and it's an expanding megaphone. Look, I've never had to do me that before, but that's an expanding megaphone pattern. And when we see a megaphone pattern, they tend, descending channels always tend to break bullish. That's exactly right. Bully. And so
Everybody now.
Everybody now. And Jeremy's always honest about drawing a regression channel. So here we've got this descending channel, and right now it looks like right here is what I would call a subdivision. Okay, and this is 1, 2, 3 touches. Now they're not perfect, but I see this, slowing down the bearish trend. Notice that we had this big push up back here. We came down with a pullback, and then it came back down, turned into a bear channel. But then we start getting these weaker bear bars as we get down. And then we get this nice little green hammer, and then we get this ascent up. So in essence, this green candle right here, as its low is lower than this one. So on the weekly, this is a pullback right here. I can take this and we can measure these 2 points right there, and that's going to give us a range, but that's also going to give us some metrics to use for a measured move. If price can get above this 102.87, it can get back to 113.90. If it can't, then it can come all the way back down to 81.47. Is that the low that it's going to go? Is that as low it's going to go? I don't know. Let's go look at it now on a daily chart. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer.
You're just going to keep rhyming, and I mean it.
Did I?
You're going to just keep rhyming. Yeah.
Hey, man, let the man spit some bars.
Say again?
I said, let the man spit some bars. It's a rap
spit some
thing.
bars.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. That was very
No,
funny.
we were making a movie reference. I'm sorry. It was Princess Bride.
Now the only thing about the weekly, and I just caught it as I'm discussing this. There's one thing about movement when you see in price, like you really don't want to see the bars if it's going to be a good trend and that you can get in and say, okay, I'm going to be a trend follower and I see a trend going. You don't want the bars to overlap too much. Now, this is a weekly, so it's like I said, it's a little different. Like if I was a 5-minute chart, I wouldn't want to see that. That's not what I really want to see. But we've got some areas we can look at. Let's go look, zoom in a little bit more into the daily, and let's look what the daily does with our regression channel, our expanding megaphone pattern like that, really big. So we're coming back up to the top of that area. Do I have another chart? Yeah, I can. One more thing I want to look at here. I've got to make sure I've got the right study. I've been working on building all my studies. I got more crap in here than I really want, and I've got to change some things. There's one I'm looking for. What's the name of it?
Take a breath.
There it is. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna move the 100. I really not like it. When you're studying market makers, one of the things that you'll learn about market makers, if you listen to the news and you listen to everything, they talk about support and resistance, but you hear them talk about the 200 and the 50 EMA a lot. So this is the 200, the blue one, and you can see that we have come right into that 200. This is a resistance. Now, price has not been above the 200 since way back here, I guess last year. All right, so it has not been above the 200 since last year. This is the 50, and it's a smaller moving average, and it's below, but it's trying to curl back up. So there's a lot of resistance I see up here for price to have to kick up. Oh, excuse me, we're down here. So this is almost like we're going to ask ourselves, is this a pullback that's happening on the daily chart, or is this some sort of reversal of this, first leg up, second leg up, bull pattern? So that's one thing we can see, is that there is a bit of a bullish move. If I were to say 1, 2, 3, I could. There's different ways to count things, but this would be my 3. So that's a big gap right there, and there's still a gap. Well, not really, but close to it. I guess you could say there's still a gap between here and here. So that's a daily chart. Let's break it down a little further into a 4-hour chart. We're getting in closer. Let me go back and put on some different.
Psst.
I'm going to go back to my study. Somebody got something to say?
Look at where that 125 strike landed on the chart.
On here?
Yep, on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
That 125 strike would have been the third leg if that was a measured move. The trend from the bottom there.
Here?
From your low. There you go, right there. Yep, that's one leg, two leg. A third leg would have put it at about $1.25.
Well, here's what I can do with this. You ready? All right, so
That's just why that option was
YouTube's getting
inefficient.
this, but YouTube doesn't get the replay. All those folks out there, unless you're members, you don't get the replay. Come join us. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you this. This is what I look for. When I talk about looking for wicks, there's several ways to look for wicks. One way we look for wicks is we look for those liquidity zones. When we see a bunch of doji parties, we know that there's some liquidity zone there. Another way I look for wicks is I look them as pivots, points, where prices changed, where there's been a major reversal. And here we had this bull channel right here, and our bear channel, and it came down. We had a trading range for a little bit. We had this big breakout over here. Boom, 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 boom. We come down. There's this big wick right here. Well, I want to know that's a low. That's good. Then we get to the top of the channel, and we got this big wick here. What I find is, this is where I like this tool best of all, is because when I see those wicks, it gives me a range that I can look at now and say, all right, this is the 50% retracement. Let me put this sometimes with this tool, even though I can move quick, sometimes it doesn't give me the right numbers, and sometimes I have to adjust it like this. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so 81.43. So from 81.43 to 117.40, there it is. 50% retracement is 99.42. Currently, the way I've measured it, we're below this angular resistance. We would expect the 50% retracement potentially, We've got the 33. That's what this one is. You normally get a 33% retracement. You don't always get a 50% retracement, and you don't always get a 66% retracement. Don't look at those numbers. It's in thirds. And then sometimes you will get a 100% retracement on the bounce back. But
Yeah,
this right now,
more the lines than the numbers, right?
yeah.
Look at the line.
Yeah, the left side, it's like 66. That's really 33 from here to there. It's 66, but it's 33. I'm going to take these numbers off and color code them so I can stop looking at the dang 66, 33, 50.
Yeah, it sounds like it's bugging you.
It's getting to be like the zigzag indicator. Get that thing off of there.
Yeah.
But this is a
I
range
don't need,
candle.
I don't need that.
This is a range candle right here on this chart right now. So we've
Love
had that.
gives you the wedge, man.
Yeah, we've got this this move up, this bullish move up from all the way back here. Boom. We wicked into this hot right here, and it was a strong rejection from that price. That was like a $5 move in this wicks, like $5 long. That's a big rejection in that price. You can tell that those that were the bulls here in this candle, some of them got trapped up here. So when price opened here and came back up, you can see that some of these guys got out here. That's what this wick is. See that they the sellers were strong, but at one point this was green right here. As green as this, it was green from all the way here to all the way here. Okay, and that was probably folks getting out of their shorts or their long positions. Came down, plateaued and went sideways a little bit, came back down, and we've kind of stair-stepped down to this point. Interesting. So we've kind of stair-stepped down to this point, and if I scrunch this up, I've got 3 touches. 1, 2, 3. 3 touches. So we're expecting something to happen here. 3 touches of a channel, channels eventually turn into trading ranges, so we could sit here and range in
You'd have
this.
to crank at a certain angle. Like if
Say
it was
again?
90 degrees, and if it was in a certain angle, you said it was just like the oil fill would be too big, or
Yeah, and
Oh.
it'll
Sorry, I thought he was ready to be unmuted.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the
That
angle
was
of what we
I
were
thought
funny
he was
doing.
because the
talking about
timing
what
was
we were
right.
talking about.
Yeah. All right. So, so here you've got this. Here you've got this range bar. I'll call it right now. This is opened up at 9 a.m. So we've still got a couple of hours. I think an hour and a half or so for this thing to close. So we'll still have to watch it and see if it's going to be that type of high wave range bar. Dang it! Well, I did something wrong when I did it. I got spooked by the voice. Now,
Threw you off.
yeah, it threw me off. This is an exponential moving average, so it moves a little. It's a 20 EMA. I like it a lot. So it's given us some really good indication. We're below that we could be bullish. However, like I said, this is 1. You see, price went back up, came back over here, came down. That's 2, and that's 3 touches, almost subdivided. So it'd be interesting to see if we got another one lower with a wick, or this guy could just come all the way down to this hammer down or flat nose into this 99.42 and still go sideways, or it could go down. So there is at this point, it's an indecision for the 4 hour. That's an indecision. This is indecision. So it's undecided what it wants to do, which means I really can't tell you what it's going to do or even guess because it don't know what it's going to do. Anyway, so here we come down on a 2 hour, and we have the same thing. We have this high wave candle. This is already closed. So that's good. This one's already closed. That tells us we are in a trading range. So what happens with trading ranges? Does anybody remember? They break, and when they break, what happens?
They range.
If they break,
50%,
bullish,
baby.
107.45. If it breaks, bearish. 97.14, and there is your argument. So I would, if it were me, and this is not advice to anybody, this is my opinion, I would look to trade the breakout because I like the breakout. But you have to wait for it to break out and really break out and not fake you out. So I would have to wait a bar or two. And it's a slow way of trading, and my trade might not happen, but that's okay. If I don't get in there, then I don't lose any money. But if it does work the way it's looking, and it gives me one of those situations where I can take profit, be it long or short, then I'm going to be just fine taking a little portion of that and going in hot and heavy.
And now you know our fiendish plot.
Now you know our fiendish plot. And listen, this is all I learned. All this here at Bullish Bears, I learned a lot of it riding shotgun with Jeremy and having Devin remind me to look left, hobbits. Okay. So
or that.
We gotta cut up once in a while, otherwise this stuff would be so boring.
Absolutely, it would. But look at this. This is a chart we pulled out on the what do they make these lines on the 4 hour, and look at the 5 minute.
Yeah.
Look at where it is. Look at how I didn't put that here. I put that there on that wick there. But look how the 5 minute has respected this middle third.
Every time.
Broke below it. And if we look at this right here, these candles, these are well orchestrated candles. Wouldn't you say that, guys?
Oh yeah.
These are pretty smooth candles, which means the market makers are making those work.
Yep.
And you can apply the same price action to this that I do to anything else. Especially, I love the 5 minute chart because you get these smooth moves, XLAX, and then you can go in on a 1 minute chart and get your entry. But here you got the same thing we talk about all the time. We've got a bear bar closing at its low or near its low or actually below the EMA, the 20. Then we've got another bear candle closing near its low below. Now, that would be, some folks would automatically, once that candle closed, they'd automatically sold the close or the low, or they do one tick below it, and they would have got in there. And then look, they'd have gotten that entire bar, and that would have been like 1/3 of a movement almost. That was actually 16%. But it rests on that 30%, 33% right there. And gives us that little rest spot, but then continues to go. And this candle, even though it's not near its low, still gives us an indication that it's going to go lower. And then we get an exhaustion, or what they call a climax candle. And we know that those are exhaustion or climax candles because they're the largest candle in the breakout, and they're toward the end of the breakout. And you'll see those on the bullish side too. And so that tells us, wow, this is about had it. And then we get a pregnant candle, and they call it a harami. We get a bullish harami there. So
No, thank you. I do got to go to work though.
Okay, buddy.
Unfortunately.
Sorry. It's listen. It's hard for me when you ask me a question. I'm like, well, I'm gonna give you a lot of detail.
It's all good. That worked out actually perfect. But
you got it. You got what you
obviously,
need.
I'm announcing that I'm leaving, so get ready to do whatever's going on.
We're all getting our orders ready now.
Yep.
Their orders
Here
are
it
coming
comes.
in.
Yeah. I'm throwing them
Yeah.
in right now.
Slippery
Amazon
fish.
and-
We're
I'm
going
calling it
in
right now. Amazon and Tesla to the moon today
Yes.
while I'm gone, and it's gonna pull back before I can get back. So
Oh, bless your
But
heart.
you got that Wu-Tang on Amazon right there in front of us, and we also have Tesla just hit its new high of day, 196.59, and it's pulling back
And
now.
For a
I'm
long
riding
time,
that
didn't
baby.
I?
It's pulling
Devin,
back.
you got material, buddy.
Yes, it's pulling back
I
in
know,
a.
right? That's what I'm saying. I can clip this stuff, but look at how the MES bounced off your wedge right there on that measurement
Yeah.
on the lower right hand corner.
Yeah,
Sam. Look at that.
that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
I was waiting for my end to talk about it. I said, look at that.
You and me are the same person apparently.
We are.
I threw that Game of Thrones reference up in the chat there. I said, I will take 2 lines.
He says 2 chickens. 2 chickens. Sounds like my dog. Oh Lord. Wow, that was fun. I guess being up at 4 o'clock helped me. It sucks that I can't trade when I do this.
And you know,
I'm not you yet. I'm gonna get there though.
The character name is the Hound. So I'll take
Wow.
2 chickens.
Is that really his name? That's funny.
Yeah.
We have the wolf. The wolf.
Yeah.
And we have chickens in our neighborhood all over the place, you know. And it's like I'll walk him and I'll see his ears go up, and I'm like, "Where's the chicken?" I know he's lazy, and he's like he starts making these noises, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Huskies
Starts
are known
chittering.
for killing-
Chittering.
Yeah, they're known for killing chickens.
Oh,
He
yeah.
sounds almost like
Yeah.
a velociraptor when he does it.
That's where he evolved from.
My friend's got a border collie, and she tried to have chickens. She tried to get chicken, and
Watch
the
it.
border collie just killed them all. And I'm like, yeah, that's a bird dog. Like, it's got a little Labrador in it.
Bird dog.
Bird dog.
Bird dog.
Don't. It's a bird dog. Don't.
Should- Don't have chickens. You're just feeding them.
Yeah, you're just feeding that bird like you know a bird
minute.
dog when they grab their toy by the neck and swing it around viciously. I'm like, bird dog.
Yep.
Bird dog. Bird. Where's my phone?
What's the word?
Bird.
I like the
I was gonna put this
Everly
up.
Brothers. Hey, bird dog, keep away from my chick.
Oh, nice.
That dates me a bit.
That's good stuff right there, though. Come on,
Yeah.
love it, love it.
It's not on. I can't be on right now. I gotta turn off.
This has been an awesome day already, guys. This is I'm just
Yeah.
We're,
This is
we're
great
like
price action.
I don't know how long we've been up on YouTube, but it's going on probably 2 hours now. But it's all amazing stuff.
We're rolling, dude.
Somebody put up something. They sent me a text, and I cannot share it. It was just absolutely freaking hilarious. I'm gonna put up a picture in the main chat. We were out yesterday walking, and I think we saw Jeremy. There he is, right there. I think that's him.
Oh no.
We were walking. And,
Oh, yeah, it
and-
might have been
and enjoying our walk. That's the lake.
Jeremy.
That's the lake. That's the lake. And I heard this whining behind me, this droning, and I look up and I said, "Is that guy like motorized?" And yeah.
Yeah.
And he starts doing
Yeah.
all sorts of tricks, swinging up and down. And I said to my girl, I said, "I think that's Jeremy."
That's something Jeremy would absolutely and will probably. In fact, I'll probably be in that. I'm definitely down to do that.
It's on my
'cause
bucket list.
those ultralights, those motorized
of fun.
ultralights. Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
you can take off. You can take off from your backyard.
Yeah, I saw that. And I'm like, there he is.
I did aerobatic flight over like a remote, jagged mountain range, so I'm a little daring. Yeah,
I absolutely want to climb into a squirrel suit, man.
yeah. We did aerobatic flight over the Selway mountain range between the Idaho-Montana borderline there, and yeah, it's
Oh.
remote. If we would have, something would have happened, it wouldn't have found us.
Flat, yeah.
I'm actually pretty acrobatic. I know I hadn't told y'all guys that a lot, but I actually did some pretty acrobatic stuff. I got up a little while ago and walked down the hall.
There you go.
Whoa, you did that?
It was fun. 'Cause
Glad I love it. Quant time.
before I went and did
What time?
before I went and did aerobatic flight, I did a lot of RC flying, and like everything, all the little stunts and tricks I could do with my RC plane, I got to do in a real plane, and that was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, and that's why he scalps like he does and reads a 5-second chart. He's above average in a lot of reflexes. Like, dude, I tell you what, I am so glad I'm on a team with you. If we were ever in a battle, I want you on my side. I'm in your foxhole, bro.
So,
Word, good to have you.
Gonna have to be moving fast though.
no. You're moving fast enough, buddy.
Yes.
You're keeping up. You're keeping up.
Ironclad just called it out.
Everywhere. There's bullets
Quant time.
everywhere. Scalp them.
That's right.
I'm out of here, guys. Have a good one.
All right.
You too, man.
All right,
We'll
bud,
see you later.
Have a good one.
Take
Later.
care.
You too. Watch this tweezer top. Good to have you, Ricardo.
Woo-ha, woo-ha.
Well, if we don't quant time this to the positive to close that open gap, I'm seeing us coming back to 41.17.
You got that right. I see exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Yep. 41.17 right there. That's my level.
Like night and day, sir.
The dog ate the caviar.
Oh my.
Oh my.
In my best George Takei. Oh my.
Anyway,
I was still eating my
I'm gonna-
breakfast. That's why I was quiet.
I'm gonna take a quick break here. I'm gonna go get some breakfast and me, but I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, we eat
Breakfast.
stocks for breakfast.
Breakfast in me.
We
You
eat price action for breakfast.
Yes, we do. Look at that 5-minute chart right in front of us right now.
No,
See this right here? It gave us this little movement up there. It got that wick there, which is a failed breakout. But then it hit it. But this right here, we're going to watch and see if it holds this guy right there.
We're doing a little Busby right now on the open range. We're just inside that.
Bada boom, bada bing. I'm still kind of waiting for a full-on reversal. I got into the setup instead of the reversal on that UNG position, but I think we're just starting to formulate a reversal.
Taking away your card, bro. You got it on the setup and not the break.
Yep.
Well,
Well,
all right, pal. That's it.
this
You're gonna
is
have to do some discipline exercises now.
this is when you can do it though. That position doesn't expire till April 18th. Sorry, not April 18th.
Ooh.
April 21st. So I got lots of time on that. That's the one exception when it comes to getting in on the setup is when you can get in on a setup with spreads. Takes a lot of that risk out
That's
just
different.
in that. I'll be right back.
All right, watch this right here. This is a little interesting look we got going on. What'll happen is this is a 5-minute candle, and it happens on all the candles. They try to fake you out, and they'll get new traders especially because that's 5 minutes. Dang it! Because what'll happen is that candle twitches. So like you see this tweezer top looking thing, and so some people are going, okay, great. We're going down. But you got to look at everything, even though, really, that's a touch. That's a touch. I don't know that this is a 3 touch yet, 1, 2. But really, this candle could go either way. And if you don't let it close and you just say, okay, we're going down bearish right now, I'm going to go jump, you could get caught. And another thing to look at, and this is why sometimes I use several different screens. I had to get my drawing set back up there. But you'll see that it's so far above this moving average, and it's been above there in a bullish run. Being bearish here right now is not the thing I'm going to do, because the odds are it's not bearish. The odds are it's still bullish. So I don't want to get in bearishly when that candle's going red thinking, ooh, I'm going to go red. I want to wait until I find out what happens, because for me, it has to close. If it closes with a wick right here and a little body or something, that's potentially a micro double bottom on a 5-minute chart, and it can continue up. It still can come back down and reach about the halfway point here. This is technically the first pullback because it's lower than this candle. But again, there's still a little more than a minute left on this candle. So I want to sit here and watch it before I make any judgment calls. It's also coming back down to the top of this movement from this trading range, which actually our trading range gave us a twofer.
And a liquidity box.
And a liquidity box. And a twofer, what I mean by that is the market the market makers are, their standard ratio is 2-to-1.
Yes, sir. That is what they love to do. That's
And
when the
so-
market's working efficiently for them, see?
And here's the thing, Jeremy, what I figured out was, in looking at this and going back to what Bud was talking about earlier when we were talking about stops, is that in essence, what you're doing is you're capturing that 2-for-1 reward.
Yep.
But you're doing it in such a way that you're subdividing it.
Right.
And you're catching, instead of 2-for-1, or you're multiplying it, you're catching 8-for-1.
Yes, sir.
And
That's where
and
that
it's
number
the
comes
same
from.
range. It's the same range. There it is. Is that where it comes from?
Yeah.
It's the same range. I didn't even think about that till I was saying it out loud. I was like, wow.
That's
And it's just you're thinking it out loud.
it correlates straight into my 8-to-1 strategy on options. It's the same thing.
I saw that this last week. I was like, I'll be dadgum. The 8-for-1 you can get, and I think I mentioned this to you. I said, hey, Jeremy, I just mentioned it really quick. I said, in that 2-for-1, you can get an 8-for-1.
Yep.
And it's a matter of where you get in. See, if you were to get in here and just go to here, well, then that's 1-for-1. But let's say you get in at the top here, and you go all the way to the top there, and you got a small stop.
Right.
That could be 8-for-1. Here to there with a stop that's the bottom of the range, that's a 1-for-1. But here to there with a stop that's just below that range, because you know where it is, and you know where that liquidity zone is, and about how far price will go down before it goes back up, that gives you a good 8-for-1.
And then put the
41.22.
conversion strategy into that with options.
Yes.
And you not only keep that 8-for-1, you turn it into a probable 16-for-1, and then you can step on it every time. So like anytime you can take and wipe risk off the table and lock in profit, you're locked in, and then the extension is going to be 16-to-1.
There you go.
So it's all
So,
multiples plus leverage.
Yeah, plus leverage. So there's ways to get in and get that leverage, especially like if you're trading the futures and you want to get that kind of thing, you got to get your entries on a smaller time frame. You can have that
Right.
same range and know that range is going to be that long, but on a smaller time frame, you can have a smaller stop that's less likely to get hit if you're using your candlesticks and price action to judge where it needs to be, and you can rack up.
Not
But
to
it takes
mention,
time. It's a lot
you
of
can
time.
you can quantify both up and down in that entire trend. So you can
Correct.
go and
Using
take,
the option strategies.
well, in futures, you could take your long contracts,
Oh,
reverse
yeah.
button them down for the pullback, and reverse button it back
Yeah.
in long for the continuation. Rinse, repeat, and now you've taken your 1-to-1, then your 8-to-1, then your 16-to-1, and then you're looking at 32-to-1 by the time the trend's over. So like when you see me scalping, 28 times in that trend on a 5-minute chart, but on a 5-second or 10-second chart, it's exactly what I'm doing. I'm quantifying that entire move. I can grab a compound of that move instead of just riding the whole trend.
That's right. Hey, does anybody remember this price level over here, 33.75-ish? I did that at 9:47 market time around. I showed us a measured move to the upside that could be there. We just hit it. Sometimes you'll see those levels, and what Al Brooks calls them. And by the way, I don't have anything new in the sun. I just take pieces of this, that, and the other, and I put them together. Like I said, with my music, the way I think. I mean, I think like a musician. 50 years. I'm 58 years old. I play music since I was 8. I just can't help but think that way with everything. So when you're sitting there and you're looking at these other levels, and Al Brooks says you have second and sometimes third entries.
You're
So-
networking strategies into a process that works for you.
Exactly, and one that's replicatable, or I can replicate it.
And teachable.
And teachable, and that's the whole purpose of this, is that we want folks to have something. We have to have something that can be replicated and teachable, and we're working on that because we hadn't had to do that before.
Yeah.
So, or maybe didn't even need to want to do it, But it makes our systems that much stronger.
Right. It just comes naturally.
Because now, yeah, but we have to stop and think about every stinking little detail, and it's tedious, but man, it's so rewarding once you get it.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm writing a book.
That's exactly why you're writing a book. So my point is that there are other entries, even though this move was measured earlier and it went all the way back down. it's still valid because I mean I didn't even think about it till I looked at it. It's within that trading range to the right. So pretty wild, y'all. Now we have 1, 2, 3 bars. We broke this range right here, and I said, what could we do? We could come about halfway down here. Let's see where this wick goes. If I look left, I can see that that wick's into the right at the body of this green candle right here. Look at that red wick. So I want to see now, I'm curious to see if price can sustain itself here bullishly and hold this body.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, then I'll look at, well, maybe it's going to continue down bearishly. But for me and my speed, until I see that this is a pullback, which I think it is, I'm going to wait a second because it might come walk all the way back here, or they might just decide that they want it to come all the way back down. So I wait and I follow and I look for channels and I look for breaks, and I can be slow like that.
So on a little sidestep for options here, that condor I had on SPY, rather than close off the call side, which was the losing side this morning, I rotated the winning side halfway into a butterfly, and then the call side, instead of just taking it off, I closed one leg. I took and bought back the short legs. So now I'm just
awesome
offset, and I have a higher percentage return if price trends upwards. And all it has to do is move about $3, and I capture a 250% move on the return to the upside.
That is most beautiful.
Yeah, it's incredible when you can use a spread that you can either start with one leg, start with two legs, whatever you start with, you can convert it to anything. So you can tear it apart and convert it down to a basic position, or you can build it up and turn it into a complex position. That's what we're getting at with the conversions, and this is where the market is volatile enough to make these conversions extremely profitable. I'm talking about, I pulled down and banked almost an 1,800% return on Amazon.
You've been showing us that big old return on Amazon.
And I still have a position. I still have a YOLO position that's free, netted profit in that move. And if it hits the target, it becomes exponentially valuable compared to even that big percentage I took already. Same with the Tesla position. I netted it the same way. It's just a series of conversions. And man, it's incredible what you can do with that versus just buying and selling options, versus just buying and selling spreads even. You can kind of morph your trading into something that is just dynamic. And that's what I'm kind of doing. I'm looking at talking to other people about options and listening to them more than anything, and being like, okay, well, there tends to be a general focus on people trading single leg options out there, from what I can gather in doing that. And it's just like I've got these conversions in mind, and like I'm writing about them and building some strategy on it. And I think when I break that to the people I've been listening to, they're going to be blown away by the possibilities that open up for them. So that's where we're going with this.
It's grand stuff. Really, really grand stuff. Jeremy, I'm ready to end this feed. Get on the other side of YouTube. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Ring that bell.
Heck yeah.
Like and subscribe.
And more importantly,
you won't get this replay, but somebody will.
Well, it'll be on our channel. They can rewatch
our
it.
channel for our folks. Come on in and join, man.
Exactly. The idea is
learn.
Tell your friends. That's the bottom line. You can say all the like and stuff. It supports the channel. We appreciate that. But tell your friends and get this out there, because we got a lot of stuff coming that's gonna just completely change the way you trade in ways that are just profoundly easy. But it'll get there.
The first thing I see is Stone's post with Matthew McConaughey going, all right. Apologies for the interruption.
No worries.
All right, everybody with me. That was an amazing scene, though.
That is a
Oh, yeah.
crazy scene. I couldn't believe he did that character. Funny.
Oh boy. All right, this has
All
been
right.
fun in here. I mean, we're pretty view up flat right now.
All right. Hang on one second.